Alright, it's time for a good old movie night. This one might not be as long as the other ones. We'll see. Right now it's Saturday, 5:40 p.m. And I'm sitting here watching, this aired yesterday actually, and I'm sitting here watching a program called Helenius Hörna. It's by the by now very famous and popular Swedish TV host David Helenius. And this is the first, I've never seen this show before, by the way. It's the 5th season and it's episode 1. And in this first episode, in this show, by the way, it's a talk show basically. And I believe he has one guest in every episode, but he might have more in some episodes. I've honestly no idea. I just know that in this episode that I'm watching now, he has one guest. And he's interviewing the Prince of Sweden, which is interesting because, first of all, the Prince of Sweden has never been in an event like this before, or whatever. Maybe you can't call it an event, but he's never been interviewed in a long interview like this, half-hour interview approximately. But also because the host, he used to be more of a comedian than a TV host. 10 years ago, he made a show. Actually, I have the DVD. Well, they're somewhere behind here. I have the first, or all of the 4 seasons of a show called Hey Baberiba, and in that show, about 10 years ago, which I watched religiously back then, by the way, he impersonated the Prince in a very sort of, well, unflattering way, definitely. And so it's interesting to see him now interview the Prince, and the Prince. Well, he is the Prince of Sweden. So it's interesting. I've only watched 8 minutes so far, but since that's what I'm doing right now, I thought that I would mention it. So yeah, definitely an interesting program. Anyway, today I've not done much. I mean, I've been to the gym, I usually go to the gym on Saturdays. Do cardio. I watched some ER, some 2.5 Men, but tonight, I'll watch a couple of movies and I'll talk about those, and as always, I'll make a movie night out of it. So yeah. Alright, well, it was an interesting interview, mainly though when they talked about how David Helenius, impersonations and how this has become really popular in Sweden has affected the Prince, called Philip is his name. That's mainly what was interesting about it, and they already talked about that when I talked to you before, after 8 minutes. So the remaining part of the interview, it was fine. Anyway. I know a lot of people probably hate 2.5 Men, either in general or at least after Charlie Sheen left. It's something that many people have spoken about, obviously, and definitely they've displayed their dislike towards the show or post Charlie Sheen a lot. I don't know, I think it's still a very enjoyable show, but I just realized now that here in this on this title screen, or in this menu, I mean, they have the old 2.5 Men song with the kid singing, because when Charlie Sheen was replaced by Ashton Kutcher, they changed it into a more mature voice for the kid, or whatever. But here in the menu, it's the old one, and I don't know why. Anyway, I'm gonna watch an episode or 2 of this. I'm like at episode 15 or something, and I'm enjoying it a lot, I'm not gonna lie. And this is the new one, of course. So that's a little odd. Anyway, nobody wants to hear about 2.5 Men, so enough. Okay, now something happened. What the hell? Doesn't even work to take the disc out. Doesn't work to turn off the Blu-ray player. I'm gonna have to unplug the whole thing. Even my Blu-ray player protested against this horrid show. That never happened before. Okay, it seems to be working now, but like I said, enough with this show. I don't think people are that interested in in it. So I sort of have this Simpsons corner here with a water bottle, a mug, this thing you put coins in, piggy bank. It's not a pig, but and then I have a wallet, and I bought this at I think Lanzarote, if that's what it's called in English, like in 2004. And I've used this as my wallet until just recently, when I felt that, well, first of all, it's Velcro, and who the hell uses Velcro anymore? And also a Simpsons wallet. What am I, 12? I was 12 when I bought it. So I decided to put it there with my other Simpsons stuff, but I realized that it says, well, no official, so I don't want to keep this. So that's a long way coming. I should have done that much earlier. If we take a look to the left here, I have a CD with Backyard Babies, which is signed, and I've actually had this for even longer than 2004. You know, speaking of a long time ago, I've had this since I was. I think I got it from my uncle and my one cousin. Probably 14 years ago, something like that, and I just thought that I'd use that band as a way to get into what I was gonna talk about next. Well, namely Sweden Rock Festival, because the first bands have been announced. I went there this year in 2014 for the first time, and the first bands for 2015 has been announced, and among them are Backyard Babies, and they've not played together, I think, for a while, so it's gonna be cool to see them again. I'm not sure how famous they are internationally, but gonna be really cool to see them. Motley Crue is gonna be there, which is gonna be pretty sweet. Never listened to them that much, but you know, they're fairly legendary, you could say. Another legendary band is Judas Priest. It's gonna be awesome to see them. And then Hammerfall will be there, which is gonna be pretty cool. Another band that especially one of my friends talked about way back in like 4th grade, I think, 3rd maybe even. And I think back then, like, well, I wasn't really listening to music that much, but I was listening to pop rock stuff. For some reason though, when he said that he listened to Hammerfall, I was like, that's kinda corny, dude. Why was that more corny than pop to me back then? That's interesting to think about. And but there are 70 more bands to be announced. So I don't know if I'm gonna go next year. I think I probably will, but I don't know. But if so, there are some good bands to see. It's gonna be you know, most likely an epic lineup once again. So I'm trying to decide what movie to start the night with, and I'm thinking that maybe, well, now it's dark in here, and I'm sorry about that, but Demolition Man could be a fun flick to watch on a Saturday night, so I think I'm gonna start with that one. Alright, well, it's only been 10 minutes of the movie so far, and I'm enjoying it, definitely. Of course, I've only seen 10 minutes, so I can't really say that much yet. It's an old DVD too, it's from 1999. You could see that it's a snapper case, and they don't make those anymore. And since it's so old, the DVD, the quality, you know, it's not great. But it's fine. But dinner is going to be ready pretty soon. It's 7:30 right now. But before that, I'm just going to do something. You know me, gotta satisfy that sweet tooth. Actually, I also bought a bag of chips, and I wasn't gonna do that, but it says here, winner, Swedish, the favorite of the Swedish people. or whatever. There is this Swedish program called, well, Kockarnas Kamp, and then they've added chips here, which means the fight of the chefs. Maybe not, but it's a TV show, and I guess 3 of those chefs, they made 1 flavor of chips each, and this is the one that won apparently. And I've not tried it, and it says here 3 times onion. Onion is not my favorite, and I don't like how you smell after eating garlic, for example, and onions. So I rarely eat that much onion stuff. But I thought that I would give these a try on camera, actually, see if I like them. They are the winner, after all. The place I went to now is one of the 2 places that had a lot to do with fattening me up some years ago, before I was able to lose most of that. But yeah, I still go there because I like the candy, basically. And they've increased the price little by little. I remember going there when I was like 8 years old. So it's been there for a long time, and it's had the same name since then too. They've extended it a little bit, or they've, made it bigger, but practically it's the same store. But I have seen new owners come and go, which is kind of funny. So let's give these a go. I need a haircut. Sometimes it's just in my face. I can't even put my hair behind my ears because it's so thick. So I think I need a haircut. I haven't been to the barber, hairdresser, whatever, in a few years, which is the brutal truth, whatever. Okay, I guess that's obvious that I have not been there for a while. Anyway, let's do this. Doesn't really smell anything more than just potato. Well, not bad. I think if you eat a whole bag of these, you're gonna have to be put in quarantine for a few days before they're gonna let you out to the public. But no, it's not bad, actually. I don't know. I've just always felt that onions, just onion chips, it's so, there needs to be something more, like sour cream and onion. That's my favorite flavor. But just onions, I've always been a little skeptical. But the fact that there are 3 different onions here, maybe that's the secret. I don't know. Yeah, anyway, let's continue with the movie. Well, it's dinner time. That's pie, by the way. It just didn't really stick together, that's all. You can't have minced meat pie without lettuce and cucumber and tomatoes, but I tend to eat them first for some reason. And a small little carrot. And Demolition Man.
In town, wall-to-wall mini-tunes. You call them commercials. Here's that clap.
They have him trapped in Section 8.
Give me 10 minutes.
God damn it. Almost stepped on my plate there. Alright. First movie's over. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was, well, while it's not a great movie, I thought that it was awesome, and it definitely did what I hoped that it would do. I mean, it's like top cheesy action goodness, but also at the same time it actually has a pretty good plot, which might be flawed in a way, or there might be a plot hole or two, but that doesn't really matter. I think, well, with movies like this, I don't watch them too often, but what you want from them basically is, action, cheese. But yeah, the story in this, it definitely has something to offer as well. I mean, it is a dystopian movie, or kind of like a falsely utopian, because it takes place in the future, obviously, and well, this movie was made 20 years ago, so it was more in the future back then, but if you know what I mean, but still in the future, even today. And in this future, society has been changed. It's everybody now live in total harmony, where everything that is bad for you is illegal. Basically, you can't even swear, but yeah, you can't eat meat or smoke cigarettes, or salt is banned. All of that stuff. At the same time, there's been no unnatural death for like 16 years, I think it was. So, it depends how you look at it, but pretty much it is a dystopian society. And of some reason, actually, the movie starts in 1996 with Wesley Snipes and Stallone. They're sort of opposed to each other, or Wesley Snipes is the criminal and Stallone is the cop. But they both end up being put in jail or prison, but the prison in this movie is cryogenics. They are basically stored cryogenically of some reason. And then in the future, when Wesley Snipes, the criminal, he escapes from the prison, Stallone, how do you escape from cryogenics? Well, or cryostasis, whatever they call it. But he does that, or they thaw him up and they interrogate him, and he manages to escape. Anyway, but in the future they don't need violence, because they don't need violence. So the cops, they're not equipped to handle that situation. So they also defrost Stallone, who's a cop from the past, and he can handle Wesley Snipes, and they also have a history with each other or whatever. They have a background. So yeah, it's about that, basically, a hunt for Wesley Snipes by Stallone, and Sandra Bullock is his sidekick, Stallone's sidekick. Had no idea she was going to be in the movie, but it kind of works. There's definitely some comic relief, in the relationship between Stallone and Bullock. Some of that it was more comedical and satirical than I thought there was going to be. Not all of it worked. Some of it was a little bit it's sometimes a little bit too quirky for its own good, I felt. Some of the humor definitely worked fine, but not all of it. Anyway, but I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. I think the next movie is gonna be this one, The Three Burials of Melquiades Estrada, directed by Tommy Lee Jones and also starring Tommy Lee Jones. Well, this is kind of interesting. It also stars Barry Pepper. I think I watched this movie yesterday, The 25th Hour, and I think he was in this. Yeah, he was. I kind of felt like I recognized him in that movie, but I couldn't place him really. But yeah, looks like he's gonna be in this movie too. So yeah, so should be good. Same procedure as last time. This was a really a good movie, definitely. I'd say I probably enjoyed Demolition Man more as entertainment. This one was more, I guess this is a movie which would be more critically acclaimed. For example, I mean, definitely one of the strong parts of it is the acting. Tommy Lee Jones and Barry Pepper, they're both great, and they have some good chemistry. And I guess maybe the second half was the best to me. The first one, in the first half, they keep sort of jumping between between time periods, or between past and present, and and in a way which in some cases was, or in some points, was a little bit confusing, but you know, it took a little while before I got the hang of it, or whatever. I'd definitely recommend it as a modern western, but it's really more drama, I'd say. I kind of feel like in the ending they tried pretty hard to reach out to the audience on an emotional level, which I think they had succeeded with fine before in different ways, just by great acting and by Tommy Lee Jones's determination to, well, to do what he feels like he has to do. I'm not gonna go into the plot this time, actually, but yeah, definitely a good one. I thought about maybe watching another movie, but it's midnight right now, and I don't want to be up too late tonight, to be honest. So I think I'm just gonna call it quits here, wrap up the video. But as always, thank you very much for watching, and yeah, see you later.